2012, we introduced important changes in all the dimensions of the organization. First of all, in the governance area, one of the main goals of 2012 was the introduction of the SAB, of the Scientific Advisory Board, with presence of international and national leaders in biomedical research. 2012, the main change in the organization was the upgrading, the review of the clinical research. The Research Institute of Vall d'Hebron is going to be present in the main projects of the hospital. It is present in the project of labs. We are going to have the main public lab of Europe here in Vall d'Hebron, because we are now merging the laboratories of primary care and the hospital Vall d'Hebron. Is going to be present in the Institute for Research in our model of clinical genetics and molecular genetics in the program of rare diseases. And it is also present in all the strategic areas, issues of the campus. For example, BIR is going to run the model of the common animal facility of the campus.
The report from the Scientific Advisory Board was quite good in terms of competitiveness of the Institute and the research teams, and make important recommendations for the close future, such as, for example, to trust on young leaders, for example. Make a further effort to merge the efforts between translational science and clinical sciences, to really get common teams between both approaches. The scientific career. This is really important for institutions such as the BIR and other institutions of biomedical research to give the idea to the young scientists that they will be able to develop a complete career here. We have been developing a strategy that is not related to the civil servants, that is quite common in Spain, but we are in a position more, I will say, meritocratic, in terms of that there will be five-year terms evaluation, and that will serve to be maintained. That will be the usual thing, but also could help to decide which are the best teams to be kept and to be fostered and to be held by the institution. One of the main advances that we have made in the last month is to create a system that I will say is very simple. It is inspired in the American models that relate the quantity of space you have with the quantity of money you provide to the institutions in terms of overheads. So there will be a kind of relationship between the capacity to capture financing, produce science, and to grow up your group. Square meters you get, quantity of overheads you put from competitive projects. And that will give you a situation of deficit or superavit, and we will provide preferentially a space for those groups that are more deficient in their space that should have.
This objective model needs a balance between funding, between capture of financing, and the strategic need of the institute.
There is a reservation of 20% of the new space for strategic needs. We should develop that kind of strategies for young leaders, for new emerging areas, and that should be related to the general strategy. This is also really important for capture clinical leaders.
The mechanism is to introduce a factor for promotion
Exactly.
Young people, another factor for strategic issues.
Exactly.
That way, everybody has to understand the way we make decisions, you know,
Exactly.
in relation with promotion and strategic position. We have to be competitive in the international arena, and the international arena determines the quality of research we have to produce. And I think that in the last 3 years, the Institute developed strategies to accomplish that.
We are really proud of the evaluation done at the state level, at the Spanish level, by the Carlos III Institute, in the sense that 18 institutes accredited by the Carlos III, and we got a final ranking in the different aspects that were evaluated between first and second. The Department of Health here in the Catalan government has recognized that our outputs, as compared with other institutions that are financed by the same department, really good in terms that we should receive more funding that we receive at present. And this, they get the compromise to solve that situation in the years to come. It has been a quite good year. I would say it's a year of consolidation, because we have been maintained over the 3,000 impact factor points, with a slight decrease in the number of publications, around 630, that give us a really relevant increase in the mean of the impact factor per publication, over 5.5. This is, I will say, very, very high in the field of biomedicine, because it makes around the double of the mean of the impact of medical publications. It continues to be relevant for the oncology and neuroscience areas, with an important increase in infectious diseases, and also the classical areas that are in a more lower position, but really relevant also, that are cardiovascular diseases, digestive and hepatics, the lab we are now, and respiratory and systemic area. We are getting multiple relationships with the important international pharma companies. Due to those spaces, due to the clear commitment of the hospital with clinical research, at the same time they believe in that commitment and are able to sign agreements, preferential agreements, to do their clinical research, their outside clinical research in collaboration with us. And I think this is one of the important points for the future. I mean, if we want to be international leaders, we should play the international league. Pfizer, for example, has recognized Vall d'Hebron Institute as the only one hospital and research institute in Spain that has a preferential position in relation to their clinical studies. This has also happened with Roche, for example, and Novartis. And we think that this is really a kind of direct recognition of our quality, but also this is even more interesting because this will bring to Vall d'Hebron important clinical studies, and probably in early phases of the development of new drugs.
We have to make coherent, to make possible the relation between knowledge generation, healthcare, and the industry, because the industry is very important. They are the social institutions that make possible to carry to the market and make possible that institution patients buy the medicaments, the drugs, or the services they need.
Mm. A year of also consolidation, because we finally get over the 36 millions, nearly 37 millions of incomes Why we have been able to maintain these numbers? Essentially because the groups have started to get funding from outside, particularly European Union, private companies, biotech companies, big pharma companies, and for the first time NIH projects. So we are just in the point of crossing both financing, the one from the state that is going down and the one from international sources getting up.
We have to transform our organization to be more competitive from the innovation point of view. I think that the hospital is facing this situation, and the research institute is facing that situation successfully, because everybody see how the budget are decreasing, and the research institute has been able to maintain the income and to maintain the structure of knowledge generation. We have to focus, we have to select in which areas we are going to compete, and we have to be more efficient. We have to use much better our income and limit and eliminate all the expenses that are not clearly necessary and not clearly focused to our main goals.
What we have been trying to do is to look forward areas in which we could be competitive. We have many assets that make us very competitive in many different areas. We are one of the best hospitals in Spain, probably in Europe, doing things that are done well in other countries, such as, for example, innovation, internationalization, cooperation. Do the things right, do the things with quality. We have an opportunity
to fit our core competence, knowledge, patience, organization, technology with the opportunities.